Hey there, toy collector friends and Star Trek fans alike, particularly Star Trek Discovery fans. Welcome to the channel. I'm the time traveling toy collector, and this is the latest release from Hero Collector and their Star Trek Universe series. It's the USS Discovery. It's an XL edition. As you know, I tend to only collect the XL editions of the USS. I'm very excited about this. The USS Discovery. Previously, I've only had the special edition Discovery. I was going to get the XL version, and then they announced they were releasing the, in essence, USS Discovery A. Which is the futuristic, and I know it's all said in the future, you don't need to explain that to me, but thank you. But the futuristic version of the USS Discovery, as it appears in, spoiler alert, as it appears in season 3, which means it has those detached and floating nacelles, as several of the Starfleet starships have in that futuristic landscape that we find ourselves in Discovery season 3. So I'm not going to spoil the story by discussing it here, but this is something that I was very excited about because I wanted to know how they were going to make it work effectively. And we can already see from the box art that their approach is these transparent clips, which may or may not work. We'll see. But in the first instance, I wanted to just show you how beautiful the box work is for this Hero Collector release before we get the damn thing out. So there it is in profile there, that you can see a nice version of the ship there with those transparent plastic clips here and here, illustrating how they're going to be having those floating nacelles, and a beautiful product shot on the front with some of the other Hero ships included there along the side. What do we have? Artwork, etc. The back is just words, not much to get too excited about. It is really lovely box art, by the way. I mean, I don't mean to gloss over it. It is really nice. So I'm just going to pop this here because the box itself has a slightly magnetic feel to the clip. I don't know if you can get a sense of hearing that. Nice little sort of reassuring clunk as it connects in. And you lift the lid up to some more beautiful artwork of two of the other ships that are available, the Enterprise D and the Enterprise E, which are available in the XL version. We get, as ever, the official Starships magazine, and we can see here those nacelles detached and floating as a result of the programmable matter type of mechanisms that the Discovery A has, and that's a beautiful shot of the Discovery A. I've not had a chance to open this yet, but that's quite handy because it'll show me how the clips work, so that's going to bear that in mind for momentarily. And some artwork there showing that the nacelles are floating aside from the main ship, as we knew they would be. So there's a lovely, again, another lovely underneath shot of the Discovery A. And then there's a beautifully lit shot, although that looks like it's been reversed somehow because the lettering, etc., is backwards, so that's possibly a flaw in how it's been flipped. For the magazine, some concept shots, more concept shots, presumably as they're looking to see what the future iteration of Discovery would be. So yeah, lots of interesting pictures, words, explanations, quotes, details, etc, etc, etc. Not what I normally go through, and indeed not what I'm going to go through now. We then have this lovely, oddly feels like some sort of magician's palette here, where there's this black foam that holds everything in, and then here's the main attraction itself. And I think this is beautifully packaged. This is why I wanted to show you the unboxing element. So we can already see the key fuselage and saucer section of the Discovery A there, and then these slots you can't really see, but I'm going to pull one out gently because again you can feel how fragile it is. Here we have the nacelle that is going to be, bring it a bit closer for you, that's going to be floating alongside the Discovery model once it's assembled. But yeah, so that's the nacelle. Very nice it is too, and it fits in its slot there. And then here we have the plastic clips that will magically hold the nacelles in their rightful place. And here we have the body of the ship without the nacelles attached. I'll just lift it up just so you get a sense of that, because when next time you're seeing it, it's going to be having those floatable ones attached. And this is actually really quite weighty. So the die cast in there, I think, is definitely present, shall we say. Right, well, that's the ship in the box. I'm now going to use the magic of video technology to assemble the ship and put it on display. So bear with me 2 seconds. So here we are, back in action, and here is the assembled USS Discovery A. And that was interesting, and I'll talk about how interesting it was in a second. But first, I'm just going to rotate this slightly so you get a chance to see the ship in all of its glory. So there's the saucer section. I'm going to tilt it slightly so you can see the registration, but it's very poorly pulled out right there on the outer ring. It's a Crossfields class, refit class starship. So there is a lot of really lovely detailing that we can see immediately along the saucer section, from the bridge to the wider expanse of the saucer section, that I think is really very nice. And that leads and links very nicely into the overall upper structure and body of the ship. As I rotate it round, you can start to see those clips a bit more clearly come into focus. Actually, that's possibly a nice angle to hold it at, and I might just pull out slightly in a second. But you can see a lot of that detailing, almost on a Cobra-esque neck, that's very in keeping with the Star Trek Discovery aesthetic, which you've also seen through some of those Klingon ships that turn up in the earlier seasons. If I pull out slightly there, it doesn't completely give you the whole ship, because it's a big ship. The more I push it back, so I can try and get those nacelles in, the more I don't want to lose the quality of the shots. Apologies. Yeah, these nacelles and the clips that bring them on, you can possibly see there. They don't cling very tightly, which on one hand is a good thing because of the risk of too much pressure on the ship itself, so I'm not anti that. The negative is they don't cling too tightly, so unless I'm doing something slightly wrong, you can see how loose these nacelles, given they're unattached anyway, loose is probably to be expected. But these clips, I'm loath to apply too much pressure to the clips, purely because I don't want then suddenly to find that I've damaged the nacelles, or worse, snapped any aspects of it. So I'm going to just zoom in a little bit here to the rear of the ship, so you can see where the impulse engines are pulled out very nicely, with red that's intercut around the closed shuttle bay doors area, and the nice detailing that runs across the whole of the Discovery's hull there. So I'll pull back out a bit more. I'll also come in close on where I can in a second, on the nacelle. There is some detailing. You can't really see it from this angle, but you will in a moment. There is some sort of warp drive, or spore drive if you like, but spore warp drive detailing that is within the design. Some of it you'll have seen where I held it up at the previous point of the video. Here you can see some blue detailing on the underside of the saucer section, the main hull. Again, I'll hold this up in a second so you can really get a close look. But I think they've really done well to achieve the level of age that we're seeing in this ship, considering it's a future refit version of what two Star Trek in the 3100s is a very, very old ship, you know, considering it predates the Kirk-Spock era by roughly 10 standard years. But I think there's some, as I say, it's some beautiful detailing, as always with Hero Collector stuff. I've mentioned already, I think, that there's a real weight and heft to the vessel. I'm now going to do that bit that is nauseating for me, where I take it off the stand so that I can give you a much closer look. And yeah, you can really feel that weight there in the back section of the ship. I'm just going to pull that along slightly so you can get a real sense of the line and a real sense of the detailing there. And then I'll flip it over so you can also see the underside. There's that blue in a bit more detail. There's the underside of the saucer section. There's the slightly reworked, understandably, let me just get it so you can see it, sensor array there, where we used to have a little sticky outy bit. Now we've got sort of a blue light panel. Let's look at the nacelle there. You can see barely, but I want to keep it close so you can see what you can see. This in cut blue design that indicates the flow of energy that's used to drive the ship. And again, I'll just come in so that you can get a real sense of what this ship looks like. I love it. I think it's a really beautiful model. I think they've done sterling work. I think it's a real challenge to the model makers at Hero Collector and Eagle Moss to, you can see that blue detailing in the nacelle far better there. Look, there you go. To have achieved this, particularly this effect of the detachable nacelles, it's really tricky to pull that off in any kind of substantially meaningful way. I know some people have suggested they just left them on and not bothered so much with. So there you go. Totally not unexpectedly, one of my nacelles was dropped off, which is not a sentence I would normally be expecting to say. I'm finding it easier to sort of slide them in gently and then let it get purchased, and then it will hold. But again, too much manhandling. It's another element of, if you like, it's another element of what makes these ships so fragile. The saucer section certainly feels fragile. I would not lift this up by the saucer section. If you wanted to look at it in more detail, I would definitely support it by the far more robust hull section here. And again, I'll just give you a little bit of an underside where I can. Those very lengthy nacelles do, apologies, get in the way. And the underside of the saucer, I can only really do it sideways on, I'm afraid, folks. And again, the other nacelles just popped off. So that'll give you a real sense of what we're dealing with on this model. And again, there are other models coming that are doing the exact same. I love the detailing, and there's some scoring as well around the neck region where the saucer section attaches. And again, there's the registration the right way around, unlike it is in the magazine that accompanies it on this model. So really, all I can say is I'm going to stand it back into its little slotty stand and then pop the nacelle back in again, and I'll do this hopefully so you can see. This is how I'm doing it. It's not necessarily the one true way, but I just sort of slide it in until it gets purchased, and then it stays quite safe. It stays unless you're jiggling about, and I am most certainly doing quite a lot of jiggling it about, as you've seen. So I really, and I think you can see there from that angle, you can almost mentally delete those plastic clips, so it does look like they are floating separately. So I think it's quite. I think they've achieved a very challenging model shot, a model piece of work, as well as they probably could ever have done. And I get that it's not going to be to everyone's taste or liking, but I think it is perhaps the best we could hope for. and I'm grateful to have the ships. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the other ships, but I do worry that it's going to add that layer of challenge to both Hero Collector and us collectors, who then have to display lots of ships with additional plastic clippage, particularly if they are, you know, kind of fragile enough to fall off with a little bit of handling, because for the best will in the world there'll always still be some handling of these ships. So from me, I would say this absolutely has a place in my collection of XL Starships without any qualms or hesitation. I'm 100% committing to that here and now. Whether it has a place in your collection depends on whether you want to start collecting these sort of detached nacelle variations of Starships. I am excited for the future version of the Voyager. I think it's Voyager J, which I'm hoping will come out in an XL variant soon. I think it's a special edition variant at the moment, which I've not pre-ordered, but watch this space. I think it's beautiful. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this design challenge that Hero Collector have had. I'm a bit in two minds about it, as I say, but I think I can see. That's why I'm sort of ending with this shot, because it is evocative of having them floating there in the background, which is what, of course, they're going for. But I also can understand why people would find it a little bit distracting / ugly / whatever else you might want to call it. So I get all of that. Totally. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments below of whether or not you think this approach to the future ships within the Star Trek universe is a good way to go or not. And if you've got your own videos, then by all means post links in the comments. I'd love to come along and have a look at what you've got. Really genuinely interested to see what other people have collected and compare notes. Thank you very much for your time today. If this has been of any interest to you at all, and indeed has helped you decide whether to not pick up the USS Discovery A from the Star Trek Universe Starships collection from Hero Collector, then do smash that like button. And whilst you're there, why not subscribe to the channel? There are quite a few more Starships coming your way imminently, including a couple more immediately from Discovery. So why not do that? And turn on those notifications so you never miss another video. Thank you very much for spending the last 15 or so minutes with me. I will do some shots of this ship, hopefully lit a bit more dramatically, sort of in a starfield situation, so that we can see how it photographs. And again, that might inform your decision. I'll tag those onto the end of the video, as I always try to do. In the meantime, it just remains for me to say thank you so much for staying with me. You have been a fantastic audience. I have been the time-travelling toy collector, and this has been the Hero Collector Star Trek Discovery A from the TV series Star Trek Discovery. Take care. I hope to see you again in a future video, and do please remember that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Take care, and one to be mine.